Hey everybody, today is Tuesday and you are going to be doing some practice on volume. Okay, so you can just title your notes, volume practice. It's going to be really short and quick. We are going to be focused on rectangular prisms. You are going to be given a worksheet today by the sub. It's going to look like this. Okay, this is the worksheet we are working on. There are 8 problems, 6 of them have visuals, and then 2 of them are word problems. And we're going to do one as an example as a class, and then I'm going to show you one other example just that's not on here, but you solve this the same way. Okay, so 2 examples should be enough, and if you need more help, please ask the sub. Alright, so rectangular prism, first let's write a definition. First of all, rectangular should remind you of a rectangle. Okay, so we know we're dealing with rectangles, but it's a rectangular prism. So what does that mean? Well, I drew an image over here. It's not the best image. I'm not an artist here. I'm just a math teacher. But we see that it almost looks like it's 3D, right? Well, this is a solid shape. If you could hold one in your hand, it's a solid shape, but it has different sides to it, right? So we see that there's one side here, one side in the back over here, there's one side on top, this side over here, the side on the bottom, and the side in the back. Okay, so if we count how many sides it has, which these sides are also called faces. If we count how many faces it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It has these 2 on the sides. It has this top and this bottom. So that's 4 already. And then it has this side piece and the side piece over here. I might have an object down here actually where we could use. Okay, so I was not able to find an actual rectangular prism, but what I do have over here is kind of just a geometric piece. Looks like a trapezoid. We learned about trapezoids, but what I really wanted to show you is the drawing that I drew over here is similar to this. Okay, so we have like that front part, we have this front face, we have a back face, we have the top, we have the bottom, and then we have the sides on either side. That's what I drew here, and we're going to be finding the volume of this. Okay, so real quick, let's write a definition. So a rectangular prism has 6 faces, and the faces, again, they're just the outsides, the sides. How many sides does it have? So it should have 6 faces, all of which are rectangles. Okay, 6 faces, and then these rectangles that are in the middle, so we see one here, one on the side over here, and then one right there. If we look at our actual object, okay, we have the sides that I'm talking about is the top, the bottom, this side, and this side. I am not talking about the front or the back. I'm just talking about all the sides. The sides of this rectangular prism, they are all the same length. Okay, it has the same length. Because all of those, they call it the cross section, because that cross section, what's in the middle here, has the same length, the same width, that is why it is a prism. Okay, so we're going to write cross section has the same length. Okay, that's why we can call it a rectangular prism. Now, real quick, we'll write down the definition of the volume. So the volume we define as the amount of space in an object. So we want to, when we're trying to find volume, we want to figure out how much space is in here. If we were trying to find the volume of this, I want to know how much space is this taking up, right? It's not a flat object. It's 3D, right? So I want to know how much space is in here. So our definition is going to be the amount of space in an object. And you may have already talked about volume in science. Okay, so rectangular prism, volume, we know what these two things are. Now we want to find the volume of rectangular prisms. We want to find the volume of these, okay? Here's our formula. When we're finding the volume of this, we are multiplying the length times the width times the height. Okay, so we're multiplying length times the width times the height. Okay, we can also say volume equals base times width times height. Okay, I wrote base instead of length just because when we're trying to find the area of like rectangles, triangles, trapezoids, we always said base times height. So that's why I replaced the length with the base. Same thing though, you use whichever one you want. So we can say base times width times height. Okay, so we are multiplying those three things. And when we multiply those three things, we will get the volume. Here is our first example. So let's say we want to solve number 1 in our worksheet. Okay, number 1 is right here. That's the one we're solving. Okay, so in number 1 we have, I'm not even going to try to draw it because I know it won't look right. So just, you have the worksheet, you know what it looks like. I'm just going to write down what our base, our width, and our height is. So our base, I'm going to say our base is this right here. This is our width, and this is our height, okay? So the base is 18 inches. The width is 14 inches. And the height is 2 inches. Again, I got that from over here. I know some of you are fast forwarding at twice the speed, so please don't miss out on this. This is the base, 18 inches. Height is 2 inches. Width is 14 inches. Okay, so I'm going to plug all of these in right here in our formula. So I know that to find volume, I need to multiply these three, so I'm going to multiply 18, replacing 18 for the B, base. I'm going to substitute 14 for W, and I'm going to substitute 2 for H. You can do this in your calculator. Do not forget to put your units, okay? I don't have my units here, but I could add them. Inches, inches, inches. And of course, your final answer needs to have your units. So 18 times 14 times 2. 504 inches cubed. And it is inches cubed because I am also multiplying, I'll do this in a different color. I'm multiplying inches times inches times inches. So when I multiply inches times inches times inches, okay, I have 1, 2, 3 inches there's 3 inches that are being multiplied by itself. So this has to do with the exponents lesson we learned about. It's going to be inches to the 3rd power, okay? That's why I have inches cubed. All right. So this would be my answer. The volume for number 1 is 504 inches cubed. Do not forget your units or that you need the cubed in the top right corner of the inches, okay? So we did number 1 together. You can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all the same. You're given the base, the width, the height. There's the formula up here. And it says to start each problem with the formula. Here's the formula. You have to show your work and the units, okay? These 2 word problems, do your best. Read it at least 3 times if you're struggling. All right, one more problem we're going to do. This time I will try to draw it. It's not looking right. Okay, you guys get the idea, right? Hopefully. All right, so let's say this is 2.5. This is 1.8. And our height is going to be 4.3. Well, we have to multiply these, right? So you can use your calculator. So we start by writing our formula, which is going to be base times width times height. I know that, or I could say, this is my base, this is my width, this is my height. And I'm going to replace each of these variables with these numbers, the numbers that it equals. So volume equals 2.5 times 1.8 times 4.3. I can use the calculator. You can also calculate this on the paper by yourself. Remember, when you're multiplying decimals, ignore the decimal, multiply like normal, and then when you get your answer, check to see how many place values you have and put the decimal back in. Okay, so 2.5 times 1.8 times 4.3. We get 19.35. And I forgot to put units, so let's say these are meters, meters, meters. So all these are meters. Meter times a meter. I multiplied meters 3 times by itself, so that's meters to the 3rd power. Okay, so that's my answer for number 2. And this is not the problem in your worksheet. This is a different problem. I made up these numbers. Okay, it is not in your worksheet. Okay. All you have to do, you guys, is identify what the base, width, and height is, and then multiply them all, okay? Even if you mix it up and say, I think this is the base and that's the width, that's okay. You're still multiplying them all, and you're still going to get the same answer. So that's all you have to do. Just hardest thing is making sure to multiply them correctly, especially if you're dealing with decimals, okay? Enter them into your calculator correctly, or if you're doing it on the side by hand, make sure you're following the proper steps. Let me know if you have any questions. You can also ask the sub. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.